Hello and welcome back to another live reaction from Cities Skylines 2. Today we are looking at the sound and music feature highlight straight from the Paradox live streams, as you can see. Now we are only less than 6 weeks away from CS2 being released. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Actually, I probably got that date wrong. Was it the 24th or the 26th of October? I'm not entirely sure, but it is coming soon, and I'm super excited. This is the second to last feature highlight we're going to review. Obviously, if more comes out in the interlude period between the last episode and Cities Skylines 2 release date, we will obviously come back and review some more live reactions, but we are 30 seconds away from this little video. There's no point in me self-promoting the channel a little bit more, because soon we won't be doing any more Cities Skylines. We'll be doing Cities Skylines 2, but if you do want to catch some of that gameplay from release date, you can catch me live on Twitch. But for now, let's jump on in and see what they are doing for the sound and music in CS2. Let's go.
Sounds of the city. Inspiring. Exciting. Annoying. In Cities Skylines 2, a rich and dynamic soundscape brings your city to life. What would a city be without the hum of traffic and people? To ratchet up the realism of Cities Skylines 2, vehicles, people, and animals add to the audio mix. Cars even sound different depending on how fast they're going, while sirens match the European or North American theme of your city. Click on a person and you'll hear an audio cue that expresses their age, gender, and mood. Even animals will have something to say when you click. Almost all city service buildings have sounds related to their function and operational status. These sounds can change with the time of the day, the outside temperature, and when it's extended or upgraded. By layering sound loops with distinctive audio spots, city service buildings add variation and texture to the city's soundscape. Ambient sounds are more than background audio. They follow the camera, changing according to whatever you're looking at. Move from one zone type to another, the ambient sounds change. When bad weather blows in, the ambient sounds change. As an emergency unfolds, the ambient sounds change. There are 2 radio networks in Cities Skylines 2. Each network features a few stations playing music from different genres. Stations have hosts who talk between songs and anchor the talk show if there is one. Public citizen radio stations mostly play classical music, but there's a little pop in there too. The best part is these stations are ad-free. Radio stations do more than entertain you. They're designed to deliver news and information about what's happening in your city. These fact-based announcements can help you address critical situations before they get out of hand. Of course, that includes disaster alerts. Whatever's playing on the radio will be interrupted if disaster strikes.
All citizens in the affected area are instructed to immediately move to a safe distance until the situation is under control.
Don't worry if you miss it. You'll also hear an alarm if you've built an early disaster warning system building. To avoid overwhelming you with too many sounds at once, Cities Skylines 2 uses audio grouping. This system accounts for the distance and number of sound sources relative to the camera. Then it reduces the number of potential audio sources activating simultaneously. It also switches between close and distant sounds, so traffic on a busy highway miles away doesn't sound as close as that police cruiser speeding past. The immersive audio of Cities Skylines 2 is designed to enrich your city building experience. Embrace it and lose yourself in a world of your imagination.
Okay, so I think from the get-go, we kind of already knew that this wasn't going to be a huge feature-packed kind of feature highlight, right? But it is nice to see that they are taking a little bit more care into the soundscape of things. And I like that they are grouping things together However, I don't think there's too much to say about this one. I like the idea that they've got their weather warnings and disasters that can or like pause the radio stations. I do quite like that. But for someone like me who doesn't usually listen to the radio, and like the music there is like fairly nice, fairly relaxing as it should be for a simulation game, but it still doesn't convince me to put it on. For me, when I'm streaming Cities Skylines, I tend to just put on my own music or just turn it off entirely. I find it quite distracting at times. I might give it a go, of course, but I think realistically, I'm probably not going to be using it. And especially if they're overhauling the soundscape of the city. It sounds like they are putting a lot more effort into individual things and being able to mix it so some sound further away than something that's close by. So I don't think I'm going to have music over the top of that, if I'm honest. And again, we didn't really see too much there. I think they were trying to show off a little bit more of the camera work ahead of next week's, which is good. As this person here in the chat just said, there were some issues with frame rate, but it's still a work in progress. We do need to be mindful of that. Yeah, there was definitely some things there. Let's jump on over straight away to the Steam store. I'm not sure if there's going to be too much that it will talk about, but we have been wrong before. So let's have a look. Okay, see here it does say like there is quite a lot there. It does give us a little bit more in depth. Okay, so let's have a look at these audio options as well. After sound effects, we explore the main menu. So here already, it is good to see that they have a huge amount of other options here. Even the ability just to turn it off and on the radio, I think that's going to be really handy. But then obviously you've got individual ones here. Sound effects, disaster volumes. Having this option, having this availability, having this accessibility to change what we want individually is great. And it looks like there is a simple and advanced tool, which is fantastic. I love that. Still not sure how far it's going to get us. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So yeah, they've had a look a lot more at ambience, which is great. Overall feel, depending on the different types of zoning, weather, and other occurrences. I'm hoping that there is enough diverse range between, say, if you're only in industrial for like an hour, I'm hoping there's enough diversity in the sounds that they've made, so it's not just like a constant repeating 3 or 4 different sounds, because that would be a little bit annoying. Obviously, occasionally you'd have like an ambulance or a police car going past and you'd hear that, but I'm hoping there's still a little bit of change. But it's also nice to see that the same area has a different sound depending on the weather, depending on the time of day. It is very nice to see that. Again, I'm just not sure if it's going to affect me as much as it is. It sounds a lot more beautiful, I will say that. I'm not here to slate Paradox in any way. I think they're a great company and what they do is fantastic, especially as they're essentially releasing the same game but 10 times, 15 times better. It's great. Audio grouping is something I want to read into a little bit more. 2 challenges for Cities Skylines 2's audio with a number of audio sources. So it's good to think that maybe like in some areas it's a little bit noisy. It's designed to reduce the number of potential audio sources being active at the same time, so you aren't overwhelmed by the sounds of 100 cars as you move around your city. The game switches between close and distant audio based on your camera position and the number of audio sources in its proximity. So I'm hoping with that, and if you've been watching my streams as well, it's a very easy thing to point out. When we're really far away from the city, you don't really hear it, but the background sounds are so loud until you zoom right back into the city, and then it's all ambience again. So it sounds like they are fixing that, which is great. System allows you to hear the sounds of traffic from much greater distance, such as a busy highway from afar. Audio grouping also allows zoned areas to sound distinctive. But so that does make, not that I ever would, but if you're on a 4-way intersection where you had residential, commercial, office, and an industry, what is that going to sound like? It does make me wonder. But again, the game is almost here. We can test all these things. Vehicles, citizens, animals. I did like this. This is something we didn't actually speak about. I like the idea that you can just click on a person and it kind of gives you an indication of who they are, their age, their general happiness, I'd assume. It's giving me a little bit of a sim vibe. You know, when you like first choosing your voices in The Sims, kind of gives me that sort of vibe. But I like that you can do that with animals as well. not a huge thing. It's like a little thank you to like the dev team. You know, it's nice that you're giving the citizens audio cues. It's nice that you have the animals doing that too. I do wonder if there's wild animals. Do you remember when you used to start up cities and there'd be like a wild bear or a wild leopard? Are they still going to be in? I'm not sure. Music. It's nice that they're actually naming the composers. A lot of companies wouldn't do that, especially on such like a big thing within their store page, which is really cool. All right, 2 pieces for this new game. So there's only 2. There's only 2. I'm just trying to read through this very quickly. A couple of production meetings. Okay, so interesting. And I am also only 3 radio stations as well. I'm pretty sure that the base game of the original had 5 or 6, if I'm correct. Yeah, I feel like this is a lot more about the process behind it, which is quite astonishing. And to be fair, so if I felt I was more into music, I'd definitely be reading more of this, but I'm not. I love music, don't get me wrong, but this is I'm glad that they are giving the composer and the musicians credit here. I just don't think it should be the sole focus, and I feel like this feature highlight could have been something a bit more larger. You know, you're trying to show off your features, and as much as music is a feature, it's not a huge part of what people are looking for, which is a shame. So yeah, we've got a few little radio panels. Again, I like the idea that it talks over, but that's going to be it. We haven't really been recording that long. This is going to be a very short episode, but we will be back next Monday for the final one, cinematic camera and photo, which I am looking forward to, despite the frame rate issues in that one. But yeah, thanks so much. Feel free to follow me, like, subscribe if you'd like to see, and feel free to follow me on Twitch as well, and all my other socials. But until next time, thank you very much, and goodbye.